That was funny.
It was.
All right, I'm going back.
How to go back?
Did you start streaming it already?
Yep. All right, guys. Sorry about that. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. My bad. Were you able to share your watch party?
Yeah, my computer's a little slow, so I'll do it as I talk.
All right, Jenny, where are you at?
Well, I was trying to share it on Facebook. Remember, I'm on my phone, so I kind of like I gotta like go back in.
You good now?
Yep, I'm good.
Everybody good? We all good to go?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're just going to give it a moment while we have some people that's actually going to tune in. Thank you guys for taking the time to actually. You better stop coughing. You don't be coughing during this time.
What? My allergies, man. I
Yes,
have
allergies.
like my eyes are hurting. Like I got a nasal drip. Like, come on, man.
My goodness, the poor girl, she's falling apart.
No, and then I was out there raking and doing the yard today. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started. So for those that are watching, unfortunately, due to circumstances with COVID, we are going to be streaming through Zoom and Facebook Live. So if anyone has any questions or concerns, please ask your questions at the end. Today, we're going to be speaking on self-care. And thank you for tuning in. I'm one of your hosts, Shanira.
And I'm Jenny Lee.
And we have a guest speaker by the name of Anna. She's actually going to be speaking on a chapter from her book. She has a book. I just lost a book. Book called Conscious Creator. So she'll be speaking on a chapter from her book. We're going to be speaking on self-care. Anna Reyes is an Amazon #1 best-selling author, influential speaker, new thought leader, and self-mastery coach. A mother who shares her own life experiences to empower and encourage others to control of their situations and break through challenges that at one time seemed surmountable. She is one of the most insightful and dynamic speakers you will ever have the pleasure of hearing. Utilizing both gorgeous stature and voice, she delivers both informative and entertaining speeches that will inspire you to pursue greatness in every area of your life. So Anna, thank you for actually joining us today, Uncommon Women, in regards to self-care.
Thank you for having me, Uncommon Women. Thank you.
Now, before we actually get into self-care, ladies, I wanted to ask, what have you learned or what have you been doing since the isolation?
Oh, let me see. Just like making some improvements in my life. I mean, we all can use some changes and some, making different choices. You self-reflect a lot. So that's what I've learned. I learned a lot more self-reflecting and growth, and just getting used to the norm that we have now.
Okay. I think I personally have been taking this time to actually spend time with my son. This has been tough for me because I'm always on the go, have a million things going on. I think God has actually not necessarily made this a way to actually get closer to him, but I think that this time and being in the house, he wants me to focus more on my faith with God, as well as spending time with my son and getting to know him, genuinely, not on other, basically on what he likes to do, and just a vulnerable side of to know my son, more of a relationship wise. How about you, Anna?
Well, as for me, what this has done for me, before this whole thing started, I was focused a lot on work. work, work, work. I have to go to work because if you don't have funds, you can't sustain a business, right?
Right.
So now the fact that I've been sitting at home has completely focused my total attention on my business. So,
Okay.
I've been taking a coaching program, and, I wasn't going on to my coaching calls, because I had to be at work. So now that I have the time, I sit on my calls, I've been applying the information that I'm learning. So I see that the fact that I'm paying attention more to my business, now I don't have the excuse of, oh, I have to go to work, I have to go make money.
Right.
Okay, now all my time is
Yeah.
here, right? I have stuff to do here, like here. So I haven't been bored. I haven't been, I've had a lot of work to do.
Mhm.
So I've been very focused on my own business and
Right.
developing my own business and developing my own self. And that's what this time has done for me. It has completely 100, 1000% focused my attention on my baby, because if you don't nurture what you're growing, it's not going to grow at the pace that you want it to grow, right?
Right.
Right.
Right. And I think this is a good time to actually self-educate yourself.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's so much online that you can do, and so with someone to teach you, like I started into looking more details in regards to stockings, because stocks is definitely going to be a change in the environment based on shopping, and then also increasing in long term. So I've been looking more and educating myself with things like that, and real estate as well, because that's something that I want to do in the future as well. So there's a lot of stuff that you can actually do during the time home to educate yourself.
Yeah. I I've been like learning more things. Um, I'm not uh with computer thing, I'm not very techie like Shanera says. I'm not techie. I'm looking into things on like just not only just like with the with the podcast, but you have the time to read and learn new things, and that's what I'm really doing right now. Still studying for the GD, because due to the corona, I can't take the test right now. So that has given me more time to like really dive in as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So
there's a
Anna, what's some tips you would like to give us in regards to self-care?
All right, so like we discussed, there's a whole chapter in my book dedicated, which is step 5, because the name of my book is How to Become a Conscious Creator, 7 Steps to Self-Mastery, right? So step 5 goes into self-care. And I have a list of things towards the end of the book that I have implemented into my own life to self-care that I've been doing since forever, right? Not just because of what's going on right now. So
Right.
self-care to me is meditation, right? Because the mind is full right now. People are trying to figure out how they're going to make money, how they're going to keep the money that they have, and how they're going to take care of their needs, right? So a lot of people are developing anxieties, and we have to learn to take the time to shut off the mind. That's what meditation is. You disconnect from everything going on around you. You give your mind time to be free without the stresses of what the world is causing. I've been exercising. I've always exercised. The fact that the gym is not here does not mean anything to me. I go outside, I go for my run. I have weights in my house that I work out with, So self-care, you keeping your weights under control. A lot of people's activity have decreased. So you're home probably eating more because you're anxious, right? You're home, you're not going to work every day. So that activity decreased. So exercise so you can create endorphins in your brain and your system. And those endorphins allow your body to feel good. So I've been increasing my exercise levels. Also, I've been eating vegan, like healthy for years now, for like 5 years. So instead of sitting home eating a bag of chips, you know, let's learn about healthy foods, because a lot of reasons why the Hispanic community and the Black community are getting hit heavier with the coronavirus is because of our diet. Our diet consists of a lot of fried foods, a lot of starches, and then when we cook our vegetables, we overcook them, killing the nutrients and the vegetables.
Okay.
So all these unhealthy foods, Dr. CB tried to tell us, all right, that they create mucus, right? So what's happening when people get hit with the coronavirus, the mucus in their chest becomes almost like a gel in which you cannot move air. So if you decrease the foods that you're putting in your body that create this mucus, you have a higher chance of fighting the coronavirus, right? And then another thing is avoid negativity. Turn off the TV. Turn it off. Because when you are hearing all these people that are dying, which they're lying with the numbers, by the way, all these people that are dying, you think like, oh my God, when I get hit with the coronavirus, I'm going to die too.
Right.
No, there's an 80%, 85% chance of mortality that you are going to survive this thing, right? There's only a 15% chance that you will pass away from it. And that's if you have like pre-existing conditions like asthma, COPD, or whatever pre-existing conditions that you may have, right? So turn off that television, because everything that comes to that television a lot of times is fake news. Pick one person.
And watch what you share too, because I see a lot of things that's getting shared on social media, and it's not valid information. Try to do some research prior to actually sharing stuff that you actually see someone else sharing, because there's a lot of information that's out there that's false.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And actually, I unfollow like 2 or 3 people because all they kept sharing was like negative stuff about the virus.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, listen to me. You have to protect what you watch and what you hear. Okay.
Yep. That's right.
So I do not follow, or I do not entertain anybody that's over here just reporting deaths. Reporting, what was the last thing that did it to me with one individual? Talking about that the levels have gone down in China, and that the Chinese went as far as shutting people's door closed from the outside so they don't go outside. Excuse me? So you want to be encouraging America to do this to people? No, I'm not. Ain't nobody shutting my door shut. So be careful what type of information you're putting out there, because you're scaring other people. If you want to be fearful, you be in fear for yourself. Don't contaminate people with fear.
Right. That's true. I agree.
Yeah. Definitely.
Another thing that I do is, you know, right now we can't go nowhere, right? Given. So endorse places that promote positivity, right? We can't go nowhere. So again, if you're going to watch TV, if you're going to be on social media, go to places that speak about the virus from a positive point. Pointing out the positive things that you can do. Pointing out, you know, what are the upsides of this virus? You know, connect with people that are speaking from it from an educated place, not a fearful place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, there's a couple of people that I spoke to that I haven't spoken to in a while. That when I spoke to them, I spent a couple of minutes with them on the phone, and I was feeling scared too for a minute. Because that energy started getting transferred to me. And I'm like, okay, I ain't calling them again.
Yep.
I was like, I'm not calling them again until this stuff is over.
Yep.
Because the way that they're taking it is in a way that now is going to affect me. And I don't need to spend my time on the phone with people like that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and
or
then
focus on other things. Like, you know, reorganize your house or room, or, you know, taking a bath, reading a book, different types of ways to actually self-motivate yourself, versus actually listening to all the negativity that's going on in the world. Try new things. Like, I like to cook, so this is a perfect time for you to actually get in the kitchen and trying cooking options. And YouTube is a great source of platform to actually get some education in regards to how to cook things that you want to try out. Or just exercising. Like she said, there's so many different videos on YouTube that you can actually watch that you can exercise at your home. What else? You can think of anything else?
You know, I have
Just,
here,
you know,
be self-aware. When you feel like your mind is going to a negative place, have positive self-talk with yourself. You know, that's something that we were not taught across the board. You know, it has been taught to us that if you talk to yourself, you're crazy. Well, then let me be crazy. Because I'm going to tell myself that I am well, that I am positive, that I attract health, that I attract wealth, and that everything that's going on in my life is on the up.
Right.
Yeah.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah.
Right. And then one big thing, go ahead, Jenny.
Acknowledging your feelings during this process.
Right.
That's important. Acknowledging what you're feeling and what you're going through at the moment.
Exactly. And then if you're feeling something that's not too positive, learn techniques and things that you can do to change those feelings. Because yes, allow yourself to feel those feelings, right? But when we go wrong, we stay in those feelings. And those feelings go into an hour, a day, a week, 2 weeks. Now you just went into a massive depression.
Yep.
Instead of you checking yourself right away and be like, okay, I'm not thinking too positive right now, you know, let me go read a book, like she say, you know, entertain your mind, throw it off. Let me go listen to some happy music. Let me go and create some activity in my body to create another to create another thought pattern.
Yeah.
Right. Renew your mind. You have to renew your mind daily, because those negativity thoughts will actually take over you. It can take over you mentally and physically. So that's why you have to continue renewing your mind, the positive aspects of your life. I know there are a lot of people that are not working right now, and you know, they're thinking about the what ifs, the negativity on things. But instead of doing that, do some research. There's some loans and grants out there for people that's not working, that have businesses that actually can apply for different loans, and there's different revenues or resources that you can start looking into instead of just working for somebody else. Try to create your own revenue income during this time.
Absolutely. So, that's where, you know, the last one is learn to manage your finances.
Right.
A lot of people are stressed out over money because from the beginning, from even before the coronavirus, their finances habits were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
They spent too much money on things that they didn't need, that they wanted. You know, now they don't have no money to not even pay their rent, pay their light bill, things that you need. You know, people have not been taught to budget.
Right.
You know, I have this amount of money coming in, you know, what's the amount of money that's gonna come out? You know, that's what has kept my household, me and my partner, like, we ain't worried about nothing. Not that, you know, the country is not going through a depression or whatever it's going through, but we know that we're not wasteful people.
Right.
We know that we have this amount of food. Okay, we don't eat like in gluttony, in abundance. So, okay, we're going to have this amount of food, we're going to eat this and we're going to eat that, right? Okay, we have this amount of money coming in. That's going to be for the rent. That's going to be for the insurance. That's going to be for this. What do we need? Right? You need to think, people really need to understand what's the difference between what is it that they need and what is it that they want.
Right, definitely. You definitely got to prioritize your bills. You want to actually sit down when you create your budget. You want to prioritize your bills in regards to what's the most important thing that you have to need to keep you safe. You know, paying your mortgage versus buying toilet paper is not important right now. You need to take care of the bills that's going to keep you safe. Write down a minimum payment and what is due to keep yourself, you know, on a certain limit for people that actually don't have money coming in. Another thing I can recommend is call everyone that you have debt, not necessarily debt, but call people. Call your car people. Like I called Toyota, call your mortgage company and ask what options they have, you know, prior to jumping to conclusions of you going to be losing everything. Call them to see what options they have during this this virus that's going on.
And that's because go ahead, Jenny.
I mean, and like you were saying, Shanera, like the resources are there. Like it's been putting out there. The news are talking about it. And if you're not finding, and if you're still stressing about it, the resources are already there. Like Shanera says, you have to open your mouth. You can't stay shut and not just sit there. Oh my gosh, my finances are this and this and that. You have to open your mouth, call these places, and do something about it. Because I know a lot of people are still terrified. They don't know what to do. They're still stuck in that mind frame because they're so worried.
Right.
Yeah, there's a national crisis.
Yeah.
And when you when you live in a country who has systems implemented for their people, like my phone bill, AT&T is giving people 2 months. God only knows if they're gonna extend it. I seen in New York, a lot of people didn't expect are removing people's rent for 2 months till September. So like you say, open your mouth. A closed mouth does not get fed.
Exactly.
Right. And ask questions when it comes to deferments as well, because I see a lot of people are calling mortgages to have the payments deferred. Be careful in regards to that, because when I called my mortgage, they said they're going to have it deferred for 3 months, but after the 3 months, you're going to have to pay all that money back. So be mindful in regards to what they're saying when you're calling different companies as far as like, car notes, mortgage, rent, phone bills, credit card. I know some credit card companies are waiving late fees or and pushing you to the next month. I know a couple of mines are. So anybody got Capital One, go ahead and call them. But just be mindful, educate yourself and let your creditors know what's going on.
Yes.
Prior to just speaking negative and thinking about the what ifs instead of looking at it in a positive aspect.
Yeah.
Well, so did you go ahead?
Yeah, and like you say, take the time to read. I found a little list online, but take the time to read every day. You don't have to read a whole book in a day. 10-15 minutes will help the quality of your thoughts. Surround yourself with positive people, positivity. Right now you're on the phone. Talk to your friends who have the most positive outlook on this. Eat nutritious food. You have to increase your metabolism. You have to increase your immune system. Eat more fruits and vegetables. The starchy food, put them on a hold, or don't eat as much of it. Before you pick up that bag of chips or that candy, go buy some grapes. Go buy some oranges. Spike your water with some lemon, with some lime. Get enough sleep. When people don't get enough sleep, you get sick. Stop staying up late watching TV. Go sleep.
That's right.
Journal your thoughts.
Yeah.
Journal that. That's a stress reliever. Get a pen and paper and start writing. All these thoughts, all these ideas that are probably going through you. Meditate and get out of your comfort zone. Everybody's it's just there. Get up, get moving, push yourself.
Yeah.
Something that happened. I ran 3 laps over here. Now through this whole thing, I'm running 6. I push myself because I want more. I want to do better. Everybody should always want to increase the quality of your thoughts, increase the your emotional intelligence. How are you dealing with this? And increase your body health. Because I always say we only have one body. If this body goes, gets destroyed, that's it. We can't jump into another body and keep it moving. It's over for us.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's true. We don't take care of our body. We don't take care of it.
And stop comparing yourself to others. Focus on you. Focus on your goals. Set goals for yourself. Set expectations for yourself that's going to be realistic. Set goals this time around, but set realistic goals that that you'll be able to achieve. And if you fail from it, learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes and see what you can do to actually change you failed on to make it a positive aspect in regards to what you're trying. Focus on your strengths rather than your negativity or what other people are doing. Focus your household. That's what I've been doing the most time. Focusing on my household, educating myself, educating my son, focusing on the good and not focusing on everybody else doing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Right. And it's about, like you said, it's about you focusing. Do an inventory of your life.
Right.
Where do I need to improve? And make each area, you know, prioritize everything based on the importance. You know, if your money is straight, okay, your money is straight. But, you know, you need to lose a couple pounds. So put that at the top of the list, you know? If you know how to meditate and stuff like that, just prioritizing your life and seeing where you can make your life better, because I don't care the most perfectest individual that they think they are. There's always room for improvement in every single person's life. I don't care how perfect you think you is, because nobody's perfect. Everybody always has room for improvement. Every single body. And something that I learned, there's no such thing as failure. There's only learning and growing. That's what you're doing. Don't look at it as I'm failing. No, you're learning and growing. That's what you're doing. You're learning your lessons so you can keep growing. And let's say when you fail at something, or, you know, if that's what we want to call it, that's something that you can scratch off that didn't work. And now you keep doing other things that work.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like that saying, declutter your mind. Declutter your mind. I mean, it's like when you have all this time right now to change things in the home. You want to paint, change the living room, you know, repaint everything if you have to, but just stay busy and just meditate, like you said, Anna. A lot of meditating I think is good to do as well, because that we sit back and we meditate on our needs, because if we, especially, you got to sit in that place and really reflect on a lot too. So this gives them a lot of time to reflect too.
Yes, and look into things to actually boost your immune system. I forgot to bring them down here, but I've been taking elderberries, which is good for boosting your immune system, and also sea moss is really good. I have some sea moss pills. So look into things that actually going to, you know, boost your immune system. A lot of people are focused on what they're going to run out of. Try to look for things that's actually going to be helpful during this time for people that have weak immune systems, or people that have, you know, allergies or asthma or things like that. Research as much as you can. I can't express that enough, but just educate yourself and research as much as you can during this time.
I mean, we have the internet.
Right.
Google is your friend. Why foods are high in vitamin C?
Right.
I don't understand. It's right there. Everybody
Google is what it said.
No, and YouTube. YouTube.
You know how many things I've learned off of YouTube? Like, I learned that from my boyfriend, right? He YouTubes everything. Like, he YouTubes God. He like, girl, go on YouTube. I don't learn how to do so many things on my own. Me and my stuff at YouTube right here. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like, we have the internet. It's not like we had to go to a library like we used to, or go through like mad encyclopedias like we grew up, right?
Right.
Now you
Oh my goodness.
The internet, honey. Use it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Girl.
So let's get into some questions about your book. This great book that she has, Conscious Creator. We have touched on some points about her chapter 5 for self-care. So speaking on your book, what steps have you actually taken before actually writing your book?
Okay, so I've been wanting to write this book for years. The book is actually like a year old, you know, and what I did, I took this course about like 2 years ago, 2 years and a half ago, or a year ago. And one of the perks of that course was to give your book birth, right? And then they showed us a technique. And then I went to the business expo that was that same year too. And then I learned another technique. So I just outlined my whole book, you know, my titles. And then after that, I just let run through me all the information that I wanted to put down.
Okay.
And then after that, I went through an editing process. You know, I had to find a proofreader. I had to find a formatter. So it was like a whole bunch of little steps. But the book came from, again, an education that I did with myself.
Okay.
Right? And if it wasn't for that education, I wouldn't have known the formats. The fact that I did had the desire and the want to write the book, but I didn't know the format, right? In which I had to go along. And that's what that class did for me. And that's a 90-day boot camp that is called ATL Public Speaking here in Atlanta, where I live now. And that's what birthed my book. You know, that's what really gave me the push, the last push that I needed to create the book. And that's where, you know, where everything came from. It was from that class. And I just thank my instructor at that time that I said, man, you got it out.
That's awesome. So what actually inspired you to write a book? How was your life growing up? If you don't mind, let's go back into, what was your life actually growing up? And then what gave you the path to actually want to write a book?
Okay, so I'm from the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And my mom brought me here when I was 9 years old. She brought me actually to Brooklyn, New York. And, you know, the changes, they were very difficult for me because I didn't know the language. It was a whole bunch of new people. You know, for the first year, I was crying to my mama, like, send me back. I don't want to be here. I want to learn this language, you know. And then throughout time, just me learning to adapt and stuff like that, I started, you know, living my life and dealing with life. And I experienced a lot of hardships with my relationships and just getting along because, you know, and in the Hispanic household, you get food, shelter, and you get food, shelter, and clothes. You don't get nothing else. You don't get advice on life. You don't get anything. You have to go. All I heard was do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the right thing?
Right.
You know? So now I'm out there in life, 17, 18 years old. I had a baby. I got married. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm only 18, 19 years old. What am I supposed to do? So I just started doing what I saw the women in my life emulating. You know, you cook, you clean. You barely have a relationship with you're in a relationship or you don't have a communication with your husband. So that happened, you know, and I just kept going through life and these other different relationships. And the way that I started, you know, I've always been like a thinker. I've always been a person of thought, you know, ever since I was a kid. I always saw myself, you know, when I used to play around with my friends, the group used to go that way and I used to go this way. Because I always wanted to find time to think for myself. I was always the kid that I went to the park and just laid and threw myself on the grass and always wonder what was in the sky. I'm like, ooh, I wonder what's up there. Ooh, I wonder if I can go up there, you know, things like that. And then my friends over time, when I got older, started telling me like, you know, you should do videos and explain, you know, the stuff that you talk about because you break down things so well. And I'm like, for real? You think so? And then, you know, when I started doing the videos, now I'm on Facebook and they're like, you should write a book. And I'm like, for real? Me? Write a book? Get out of here. You know? So now here comes the book, right? And the book was pretty much about my process that I went through when I turned 31 years old. When I turned 31, you know, now I'm 30. I'm like, this is what it feels to be 30. I'm still partying like a rock star, baby. You know, I'm out there. I'm doing drugs. I'm drinking. I'm doing all the things that can actually kill you, right? You know, speeding, all this crazy stuff. So now I'm 31 and I'm like, all right, sister, if you don't slow down, you're going to die. You're going to die early. And I don't want that for myself. So now again, dealing with, you know, mediocre men and mistreating me, putting their hands on me, blah, 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 blah. I came home one time and I told my brother, like, you know, I got into the situation with this guy and he hit me. And then my brother was like, you know, I'm sick and tired of you coming home with these stories. You have all this education, you have 2 degrees, and you just keep making the wrong choices. So you are just a mediocre person yourself. So that insult, you know, that insult, I was like, oh, how dare you, you know? But then I went home and I processed that. And I'm like, you know what? He's right. He's absolutely right. So from that point, I completely disconnected myself from everything that was negative. And I was always like that. Like I always make these erratic decisions, you know? So I cut everybody off and I started reading. I started reading books like Think and Grow Rich. Right. You know, how to make friends, how to influence friends and whatever people. right? The Science of Being Great. I started reading like mindset books. Then around that time, I started, I wanted to connect more with my religion, with my spirituality, because me growing up Catholic, I grew up Catholic. I was like, I don't want to deal with that church because they be doing stuff to little kids. Like I got a problem with that. Like my spirit got a problem with that. So I started, dipping into like Islam. So I did Ramadan for some time with one of my bosses that used to be into Islam. That's how I learned how to fast. Then I got into Kabbalah, and I started learning those type of things, towards the Jewish phase. And then what really did it to me was when I did Buddhism. And what I loved about Buddhism was the fact that everything was internal. Everything that's going on within you is going to affect what's going on outside of here. So when I started taking control of my mind, my feelings, my emotions, my outside started transforming. Now I had a problem with people pressing me to go to the temple. I'm like, listen, I'm going to do this when I feel like it. You can't make me do anything, right? Mm-hmm. So I started implementing all those things myself. And when I started seeing myself changing, I'm like, okay, this is the one that I want my life to go. And I took all that knowledge and I read books about the law of attraction. I read books like, the anatomy of the spirit, how your mind and how, negative thinking affects your health. Because I was always having a fight in my head with somebody. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how come I'm always in a bad mood? Or how come bad things always keep happening to me? Because my thought pattern was a negative thought pattern. And once I learned how to switch those things and trained my mind, it was a training that I had to do on my own of teaching my mind how to think most of the time positive thoughts.
Right.
And now I started learning how to feel. When I took this coaching program in 2014, the coach actually insulted me again. And she's like, you know what your problem is? You are addicted to negative emotions. Click. And she hung up on me. And I said, no, this woman did. And she don't even know me. Blah, 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 right? But now again, when I took the time to self-analyze, I said, you know what? She's right. We get so caught up into feeling these negative feelings and the negative emotions that now we become addicted to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And an addiction is just a habit pattern that is not productive. That's what an addiction is. It's just a habit pattern that produces negative results. Because we all have habits, we all have patterns, right? We are creatures of habit. When we have good habits, they're good habits, right? Because they produce positive things in our life. Right. But now, when those habits become destructive, now that's an addiction. So now I started teaching myself how to feel good all the time. And I felt like I was going crazy. I'm like, because I wasn't used to that. Mm-hmm. But now again, it's a training that you do with yourself. And time after time, you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it. And eventually, now it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Now, all I do is feel positive. Now that I don't have my moments, of course I do, because I'm human. It's, I think it's completely insane for a person to be happy all the time. Right? I have my moments, but I don't allow those moments I don't allow myself to stay there anymore. Yeah. Before I used to get mad and just stay mad for weeks and then for months. Now I get mad and I get over it. And I'm like, okay, let's get back to our regular programming. What's up now? With my mind too. I have negative thoughts, but I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, switch. I am well. I pick up a book real quick. I start reading. I distract my mind so it can go back to its positive state. And that's how I'm here today, talking to you from a place of positivity, talking to you from a place of health, mental health, emotional health, and physical health.
And you pointed out a good point that I liked about that is taking accountability, rather you pushing back when someone's telling you this is the way it is. You got this, that, and going on, but what you're doing, you actually reevaluated your life and took accountability into the negative criticism and changed it into a positive. And it's a good thing, a great tool that you can do for self-care. You know what I'm saying? Like, take accountability for your actions. Writing is a great mechanism way to actually visualize everything that you're doing negative and change it positive. So I appreciate that story. That was awesome. So what is one accomplishments that you are proud of after releasing your book?
So, my book was #1 on Amazon for 72 hours for 3 days. And I was really proud about that because I worked so hard, girl. When I saw that #1 and Tony Robbins was at 25, I was like, baby, I beat Tony Robbins. Yeah.
No shots.
I was like, no shots fired because he is the #1 person right now, but I was #1, baby. I was #1. Okay, so I was running around my house saying I'm #1, baby. And I kept checking the next day and I was still #1. And then I checked another day and it was still #1. And I'm like, yes. And I worked so hard. I was crying. I was like, ooh. Because I remember when I sat down to write the book, when I got to like chapter 3, I hit something on my computer and I deleted the whole thing.
Oh,
Wow.
Girl, I was like, oh. I said, all right, get it together. Let's start typing again. And the book came, right? And then after that, this past year in 2019, I started speaking to the children in school, and that came from the fact that I have a book.
Mm-hmm.
And I did meetups and to speak about my book and to teach people how to consciously create the life that they desire, to entertain more of the positive things that they're into. If you're a creative, focus on your creativity, and just the fact that I can influence people and to be more positive, that's an accomplishment for me. Mm-hmm. Because the people have not been taught to self-empower, right? And to develop and to think about their own gifts. Everybody's gifted in one way or another. Everybody's a genius, okay? But you have to dig deep to understand. That was one of the things that got me back to my happiness when I asked myself, what makes Anna happy? Reading books. What makes Anna happy? Exercising. What makes Anna happy? Peacefulness. And when I started doing more of the things that make me happy, I became happier, So just the fact that I can teach people that process and get people's quality of life to be better, that's my biggest accomplishment ever.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Did you have some questions?
Okay. Pertaining to your book, because I read it. This is what does faith and the way you think come together?
Faith, right? The way that every time people hear the word faith, they associate it with religiousness, right? The way that I interpret faith is believing in the not yet seen, right? To me, when I create my visuals, my pictures in my mind, I know that those things are going to happen. I don't know when, but I have faith that what I see in my mind is going to transpire in my physical. Because if it was not possible for it to be physical, I would have never created a thought pattern to even think about it.
Yeah.
So that's how my faith influences my thought pattern. Everything that I think about has a possibility of existing because just the fact that I thought about it, I can make it happen.
Awesome. That's great. That is really great.
Okay.
Also, can you tell me some triggers in which shows someone who cannot control their emotions? What are the actual triggers that can make a person just not control their emotions, even if it's on a negative or on a more negative or positive aspect?
Right. I mean, everybody's different. What may make you trigger in a in a negative way, it might be something that I don't get triggered from. So that's where now self-awareness and self-reflection has to come in.
Right.
And that was a big thing for me because I was always the one that was out there. I was always like I was the one always slamming things, throwing things, because now that's a lack of skill in expressing verbally how you feel. And so now I'm physically expressing it, right?
Mhm.
So I had to understand my emotional intelligence, right? And then I had to understand that there are people in your life that understand what triggers you.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
see it. They may
Yeah.
see it from the outside, and just because you don't understand your own self well, now you're being manipulated, right? So
Yeah.
learn your own triggers. Learn why they trigger you, right? Because like, let's say
Yeah.
if you found out somebody's gossiping about you, right? Now you go into defense mode. Why are they saying that? Oh, da 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 da. No, you sit there and you're like, well, they might be saying the truth, but that's not who I am anymore.
Right.
That's what I used to be.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay. And that obviously show that they have not interacted with me in a while. So therefore, they don't know me. They know of me.
Yeah.
And you don't allow people's opinion, because everybody's going to have an opinion
Right.
Mhm.
based on how you interacted with them, right? Like everybody doesn't see all the sides of you.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
You know, I have many layers to me. There's a lot of people at work that don't see, you know, the finicky side of me that I have, the side of me that I have, you know, because, you know, like certain people come in certain level of importance in your life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, I think the people that
Mhm.
trigger you the most are the people that are most important to you,
Mhm.
Yes.
because those people comes with emotions. You know, so
Yeah.
you pay attention to the people that you're emotionally attached to and anywhere or somehow, and
Mhm.
you learn how to tell yourself, calm down, take two, breathe in to the point that you're calm. If you have to breathe in 10 times, 20 times, however many times you do until you're in a place of calm, then now you can think logically outside of your emotions. Instead of you becoming reactive, become proactive, which means you press pause, you evaluate the situation, and now you come from a place of logic.
Yeah.
Instead of just pure emotion, just bursting out, in which now you can hurt people's feelings. You know, you can burn bridges, because emotional intelligence has to do with you understanding your own feelings enough and then being empathetic enough for other people to understand why they do and feel as they do.
Yeah.
Even when people hurt you with their emotions and when their actions, you have to understand, what did I do to trigger that out of those people? Because we have been taught to just be a victim. Oh, because they did it to me. But we all get hurt, and we all hurt people too.
Right.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And that also depends on, you know, what have you learned from hurting people? You know, what have you learned from that? You know, your past does not dictate who you are now. You can't let
Exactly.
people
Mhm.
you can't let the negativity of what people say that you have done in the past to dictate where you're going or where you want to be in life. You got to
Exactly.
continually renewing your mind. It's something that's ongoing, just like exercising and taking care of your health and well-being. You got to continually renew your mind as well. Because
Yeah.
if you focus on what other people expect or what other people think about you, you will be staggered and you'll fall for anything. But when you know who you are and you take time to actually get to know who you are, you
Yep.
will not, you'll have standards
Right.
and you will
Yes.
not fall what you're not accountable. You're not falling for what you aren't. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you take the time to understand who you are outside of your parents who raised you,
Right.
outside of the environments that you came up in, right?
Yep.
Now, when you become firm, and I said, you know, like when I evaluated my parents, I said, okay, I'm like that because of this, I'm like that because of that. I don't want to be like that. I love my parents, but I don't want to be like that.
Yep.
So I worked on changing those things, right?
Right.
I was like, yeah, I come from that environment, but I don't want to be like them. Not that I'm
Right.
better than them, but you know, I just see
Right.
such negativity with that. But I want to be better, you know. And now when people come and tell you certain things, you're like, that's your opinion. That's not who I am. You can feel however you want to feel. And it sucks
Yep.
because if you feel like that, that's just really negative, you know? So that lets me know where you're at. And I don't want
Yeah.
nothing to do with that.
Yeah, like people like, but when I notice that when people when they think of you a certain way, they're like they feel like they're entitled, like they're so right that they're like,
Well,
well, I
everyone's-
know you. You know, they have that entitlement and like, well, I know,
Right.
like,
Right.
I've
Like
been
I know
around
you.
Do you really know me? That's the issue. Do you really know me? Do you know my heart? Do you know what I think? Have you been around me that long for you to really know who I really am and what, even from conversation, if I'm talking to you and you're listening and maybe you're not really listening.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I have a story, you know, like about last week, somebody created a fake profile and went into my Instagram and felt the need to tell me who I am, right? And I'm
Wow.
like, well,
Okay.
obviously, you haven't been part of my life for the last 5 years because you don't even know that I'm a speaker now, right?
Mhm.
So that right there completely negated their opinion, because how do you know me? You say that you know me, but you haven't been part of my life in the last 5 years.
Right.
So you don't know me. You know of me. You know of the person that I used to be. You don't know the woman now standing on her feet with my power, that everything that you say, that you used to say to me, that debilitated me and made me feel all negative things about myself, that no longer affects me. Because how can you tell me that you know me or you don't even know yourself?
Right.
So get out of here with that. Go work on you. Stop worrying about me, okay?
Right.
Because I'm good over here.
Hey, get it, girl. Yeah.
And that's how you gotta be, child. You gotta be like
Yes.
that. Brush them off. Brush them off your
Brush
shoulders.
them off, swerve them. That's good. Jenny, did you have any other questions?
No.
All right. So where can we find the book? I know you're on Amazon. And guys, this is an easy read. You can finish the book in half a day. Like, no lie. It's about
Really?
20, 30 pages. It's an easy read, but
Yep.
you have to take your time reading it and actually
Yep.
comprehend is when you read anything, obviously. But I think it's a lot of key points, straight to the point, but you have to dissect it when you're reading. Because it's life lessons and key points for growth. You definitely want to be growing every day of your life for the
Yep.
better. People change.
Yep.
So if you're actually changing for the better, this book is an amazing book to actually get you there. So besides Amazon, where can we find you at? Where can we find your information, what you're doing?
It's on Amazon. You can download the Kindle version. Then the
Okay.
audio is available also, and is on iTunes. Through Amazon, you can download it also, the audio. So pretty much right now, I have it on Amazon, and you can download it in all different formats, which is the physical copy that you can order, the Kindle version, you can download it. You don't need a Kindle. All you need is the Kindle app to read it on your phone, and you download it. And then, you can get the audio book. If you download, I think it's Audible, you get the book for free. But if you don't, the book is just $4, and the book is like an hour long.
$4.
$4. Like people
$4.
spend $4 on
Yeah,
$4
$4.
candy. That's gonna make you fat. Go spend $4 and enhance the quality of your life.
Right.
And also, the book is also in Spanish.
Nice.
I have it in Spanish on Amazon, the Kindle version and the physical version. I haven't done the audio version. I'm gonna do that part, but it's available in Spanish. I haven't been doing the promotion in Spanish, but I'm gonna do it and start doing it now. But it's available in Spanish. But yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. And is there anything that you wanted to add before we actually wrap up?
I just want to give you guys thanks for having me. Okay. I appreciate you ladies for what you're doing, bringing awareness to women of power and just to the people.
Right.
Something that you asked me before is like, to mention what makes me uncommon, right?
I was getting there. I was getting
You know what?
But it's okay. Go ahead.
She's already.
Right? So,
She's ready.
I'm ready. I came in ready, bro. I was ready since yesterday. What makes me uncommon is the fact that I love to grow. I love challenge. You know, I'm gonna tell you a story. Like when I came to Atlanta, 3 years ago in July.
Okay.
And I came to start a relationship with somebody that I met off of Facebook. That makes me uncommon. I just do erratic stuff, right? I put my faith in the Lord and I said, let's go. I gave all my clothes away to charity in New York, and I came with one suitcase. You know, in Atlanta, they have these hotels that you can stay at, blah, 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 blah. To make a long story short, the guy left in 3 days. He said I was disrespectful because I was walking in front of him. Go figure. Okay, goodbye. So now I'm here in Atlanta, 3 days. I don't know nobody, right? I called home and everybody's like, come home, come home. Everybody's trying to get me to where there's people that I know. I said, no, I'm gonna stay here because I came here to thrive. I came here to make it. And this is what I came here to do. And that day I sat in my room and I did my meditation and I said my prayer and I said, universe, God, the Hindi gods, Buddha, Allah, all y'all people better get together up there and send me whoever you're going to send me to get me through this difficult times. Because one thing that is here in Atlanta is people. And the energy works through people. And I kept telling myself, I am loved, I am supported, and I got this. And 3 years later, look at me, honey. Here. And that's what makes me uncommon. I don't stop. I keep going. I move. Go to where your happiness is. If you're not happy in a certain state, because New York City was too much for me. My spirit was just like congested. Move. Okay, if you need to get a new job, go get a new job. Don't be afraid to get a new job. You know how many jobs I left in New York because me and the boss wasn't getting along? Like, bye. Don't ever worry about nothing. You are supported. Connect with the energy that you come from and know that you will always have what you need. You may not always have what you want, but you're always going to have what you need to make it through.
Yes.
And that makes me uncommon. Like, and ever since I saw that working in my life, I don't worry about anything because I'm connected to my source and my source is connected to me. And here I am.
Nice.
That's good. That's real good. And I agree. I mean, I definitely am a witness in regards to faith over fear. God has definitely showed me a lot, in regards to my feelings is something that I shouldn't let overpower what's going on. He is always in control. He's always been in control. And a lot of people is not working now. But last year I had actually lost my job and I was thinking like, how am I going to handle this? What am I, this, that, and the third? It is so focused on everything rather than letting him take care of everything. And when I let it go and where my faith came in my fear, that's when I was able to find a job. And now I'm working from home and it's peaceful. The place that I'm at is very peaceful because I was in a toxic environment before I got to this job. And he never fails you. I mean, God never fails me. And I know it's a lot of things going on with people's circumstances right now, but I think a lot of people just have to put their circumstances aside and see where their faith is coming from. Focus on the good. Focus on what he's done in your life versus what's going on now.
Absolutely. And know that you have support. You have a support system. You're never alone. You're never alone. Even if you you in your own space, you're in your loneliness, you're not alone. You're with yourself. Yeah. And you're the best person that you can be with is you. And God is you. God is within. God is not out here. God is not in a church. God is right here. Right here in your heart.
That's right.
It's from within. It's from the inside out, not from the outside in.
That's true. That's true. Jenny, did you want to touch on anything before we actually close up? Anything that you want to say for anyone that has a virus or just anything?
The only I really want to say this: take precautions, be safe, wear your mask. If you're out in public, you must wear your mask. I think it's also a part. It's also, I see this a lot when people are at the stores. Because I am a caregiver and I am a healthcare worker. Do not wear the same gloves to touch everything and anything, because you're cross-contaminating. And once you do that, you're
Pointless. Wear
you're
gloves.
you're putting dirt all over the same thing. Just take off the glove. If you're gonna go shopping, just touch stuff. But then after you're done, just use hand sanitizer. Wash your hands. That is the best method right now. But don't throw your gloves in the street. Don't throw your mask in the street. Put it in the trash can. You know, we have to take precautions and be wise. And, you know, also practice social distancing, because, you know, we are the ones right now that have to, you know, we are in this together and have to stick together, but we also have to like look out for one another and hold each other accountable and be like,
Right.
hey, don't do that, because to prevent the virus from spreading. So like I said, just use precautions and don't be so fearful. As long as you know that you're taking precautions and you're being wise, you'll be all right.
Yeah, mindfulness. Be mindful of yourself and be mindful of others.
Yep.
Right. And stay home. If you ain't gotta work and you don't have to go get groceries, stay home. Like, this is not a joke. There's like serious. I personally know people that have this virus, healthy and unhealthy. But I mean, as much as I want to get outside the house, I know it's best for me to stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home unless you actually absolutely have to go out. I know there's a lot of people curious and their own reasons in regards to what's going on with the virus. I don't care about that. I just want to get outside of the house. So just do what you got to do to actually get outside.
Exactly. Like, people don't understand how serious this is. For instance, I had already experienced a situation this week. Mind you, I am a caregiver. I take care of the elderly. I have to go in there. You know, the elderly don't come out of their homes as much at all. So I'm risking myself and going into the home. If somebody else was there that was exposed, they're exposing the elderly. I'm being exposed. Or it can be a family member. You know, I already had an issue this week where I went into the home. Prior to that, I guess the person that was around someone that had the COVID-19 was there a couple days prior to that. I was there, but she didn't know. That person she didn't know. So when she found out, she told the home that I was in, they told them, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is not good. I called my job, you know, they were like, but thankfully, you know, God is good, because this is my normal client. So I still have to go back regardless. So, you know, I'm like, even now, like, even though I know that, you know, that they have been exposed and he's been around this person that's been exposed, I'm in the house. I'm taking even more precautions, you know, because I have to worry about the people that I live with, because I don't want to risk them coming in the home as well. And that, I mean, it's not fear, because I don't have fear, because I know God got me, but it's more the worry, because, you know, I do live with someone that's immune compromised, and I worry for her. You know what I mean? So I have to be wise and take precautions. But praise God that this person was tested negative, which even made me feel better, because I'm like, you know what? I had to take a couple dances. But like I said, like Shanara said, like like, you know, I know people that's had it, and like what Anna said, you have to take care of yourself, because when you take care of yourself and you're doing the right things, you'll be all right. So I take this highly and recommend that. Just be wiseful, be mindful, and take precautions.
Absolutely.
That's good. I definitely agree. Just lost my train of thought. Oh, so yeah, with that being said, my prayers do go out for those that are working. We appreciate you guys. For people that are actually working, I appreciate you. You know, you taking precautions and actually still going to work and doing what you got to do. I appreciate you. I pray for those that are trying to get through it. So I definitely have prayer out for everybody. We are going to get through this, you know, positive vibes only.
Yep.
Thank
Positive
you,
vibes
Anna, for
only,
actually.
honey.
Thank you, Anna. I appreciate you for coming out and talking to us about self-care. Listeners, make sure you go check out this book. Get this book. Like she said, $4. Like, I'm sure you spent more than that on lunch when you guys was working. So
Yep.
this should not be nothing. Especially if it's going to be beneficial. We are going to be going live until this passes over. So I'll be, you know, promoting us live on Zoom. And we'll also be posted on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, like that next week. So it's probably going to be posted next week. But did anyone have to say anything before we closed out?
We got mugs.
Oh yes. So if you want to support women, we do have mugs. We have shirts. I have one on. It says "Be comfortable," it says "Be original, not a counterfeit." So we do focus on self. You know, not looking like everybody else. You know, being
Because you don't look
yourself
like anybody
and
else.
not trying to follow what everyone does. That's right. That's right.
Your
So
fingerprints
we,
alone lets
we
you know you're not like anybody else.
Nope.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
But anyway, we are
That's
going to go
another
live
call.
in
That's
regards
another
to
show.
what we have. Right. So I'll be promoting the stuff that we actually have, some goodies that we have in regards to shirts and mugs and things like that to keep people active. But our viewers for actually listening, and please remember to stay